we're going to be going over this guy, Star Wars Theory. And Star Wars Theory released a video, Dave Filoni just changed the prequels for me, where he goes over basically Dave Filoni's explanation and The Mandalorian Behind the Scenes, Episode 2. It's on Disney Plus. It's actually pretty good. Now, I've already seen this video, the Star Wars just changed the prequels for me. I've actually already seen this, and I did a response, but the response was way too long, so I'm going to do it again. I've also seen I'm guessing you already know, just by the fact that I said Episode 2, Behind the Scenes Mandalorian. I've seen that. But in the video, Dave Filoni basically talks about the importance of the whole, basically the importance of Episode 1, and how it relates to the original trilogy. He's basically talking about the character arcs. I encourage you to watch Episode 2 of Behind the Scenes, The Mandalorian. It's near the very end, and I think it's like 6 or so minutes long. But just watch the whole thing. But it's really cool.
Twitter beef. We've made it officially. This is what it all comes down to. All that work, it's really just for this stuff. So this is a video that, dude, I don't want to respond.
By the way, when I saw this thumbnail, actually, when I saw that he put out a video of this, I was enraged. I was very angry, and I was very angry because this guy makes videos on Star Wars, and he doesn't, basically what A.B. Allen is saying, but I was so enraged because he did not understand it. And in the video, he makes it, it's implied that he doesn't get the character arcs. We'll get to that in a minute.
Want to hate ever, really, or whatever it is. I get a lot of it. You know, I got a lot of love, a lot of hate. But this is something that's got a lot of... I'm just chilling, and I get this notification from the Lore Master, who's my favorite Star Wars YouTuber, and he's just, praising me that I work hard on my channel. I'm like, oh, that's nice. And then I see it's linked to this tweet, and it's Revan X saying, I see people hating on me for being toxic and not knowing anything about Star Wars. I'm like, where's this all coming from? This doesn't really make any sense. So I'm like, dude, like 3 hours ago, I'm like, what's going on, man? So they link me to this guy, A.B. Allen. And I'm like, well, I'm blocked. I can't see anything. So I don't know what you guys are talking about. Anyways, fine, curiosity gets the best of me, and I open a incognito tab, and I start going through it, and I'm like, Jesus, this guy's really, it's going in, man. 6.2K likes, damn, all right. Where do I begin? He's painting me in a light that I really don't like to be painted, and for whatever reason, this is how the internet works, apparently. It's if you paint someone with a certain brush of your own narrative, whether you know the person or not, you'll create a following around that. And it's misinformation, and it's bullshit, frankly. Pardon my French. So I want to go through a few of the things that he says. I'd like to address them as immature as it is, and I shouldn't even be doing this, but
So he says he shouldn't even be doing this. He actually loses, basically. His explanation is not as great as it should have been. And basically he has no excuse for the Dave Filoni just changed the prequels for me whatsoever. He tries to make one, but it doesn't work.
I don't know. The child in me wants to. A.B. Allen says that a YouTuber with 2.39 million subscribers, literally called Star Wars Theory, was shocked listening to a basic character arc analysis in a Star Wars movie, tells a fascinating story about how mega fans cannot be trusted to grasp the basic thematic ideas of the films they're fans of. So this goes back to my video a few days ago where Dave Filoni enlightened the amazing producers and directors at that table, Jon Favreau and so many more that were there, Taika Waititi, Deborah Chow, and Bryce, I forgot her last name, but she's just as talented. they were all just as amazed as I was when I was listening to it, and they've been part of Star.
They were all just as amazed as I was when I was listening to it, basically saying that he didn't understand the character arcs.
Wars since the very beginning, where they got to see it in theaters and so on and so forth. At least most of them did. But apparently for me, it's not okay. So let's go on. This is a person who literally making their living off of theorizing about and explaining Star Wars to people. This person did not understand the basic central emotional thematic arc of episode 1. This is where we're at now. This is what we're dealing with. Fan theory culture is a plague that ignores character, theme, and emotion in favor of useless trivia and conspirational nonsense. They literally lack the framework to engage with the movies they watch in any meaningful way. These are the people Hollywood is pandering to now. So you clearly only watched a little bit of it, and the fact that you blocked me, I don't get to even comment, even if I wanted to. I don't even have to put in my 2 cents. So I feel compelled to make this video here, even though I should not be. I'm just so tired of it, dude.
Okay. So first thing is A.B. Allen's commentary about. I'm sorry. This tweet is about A.B. Allen's comment. My God. This tweet A.B. Allen is making is a commentary on how people consume media. This guy is very correct in what he's saying about Star Wars theory. And his opinion is very valid. This is who Hollywood is pandering to. That's a very valid statement. And you know this because we always find movies that are completely absolutely the void. Just there's no substance or actual like work put in, I feel like. And you can see that even with the sequel trilogy, that the character development absolutely sucks. The story sucks. They kept everything that they thought was the substance of Star Wars, and it just wasn't. I mean, there is no substance, especially when you look at episode 7. It's a complete rehash of episode 4. They couldn't do anything new. People, for whatever reason, defend J.J. Abrams on this whole thing, which is completely retarded. And, he is definitely correct when he says this is who Hollywood is pandering to. It's a problem when you, Star Wars Theory, don't understand the character arcs because you've been doing this for a long time, and you said that Star Wars is like basically your life. And like, do you just enjoy the lightsabers and the Force and the jumps and flips that every Jedi makes when, he starts fighting in the battle? I mean, come on, where do you... What is your internal subconscious reasoning for enjoying Star Wars? Everybody else at that table doesn't get an excuse either. It's a problem when they don't understand the psychology of the character and how the two people interact as far as Anakin and Qui-Gon Jinn go. That's a problem because they are in charge of making Star Wars, because they've helped on those projects. I don't want people helping with Star Wars if they don't understand the media that they are consuming. If they think it's just about, lightsabers or the Force or whatever. And the Force is a big part of it. The Force, if you don't understand the theology of the Force or the philosophical element to it, you should not be making Star Wars. You should not have your hand in that project.
For almost 4 years now I've been doing this, and there's so many people
4 years.
that come out of the woodwork who think they know who I am and like to talk all this shit, and I'm really at the point where I'm just tired of it, dude. I took down my Discord because people sent death threats to myself and my fiance saying that they're gonna find me at my next meetup, and they're gonna find her and do things to her, and they're and you know why? All because I liked episode 9.
So I've noticed this. This is really fucked up, and I have to say that the Star Wars community can be the most toxic community. People going after Rose Tico. I can't remember the actress that played her. I can't remember her name, but that's extremely messed up. And for you to go after the actor instead of the director is very confusing to me, and I'm not condoning going after Ryan Johnson whatsoever. It's awful. It's just something that I've always noticed is that they'll always attack the character. They won't actually attack the person that made it. Again, not condoning, and do not do so whatsoever. That is fucked up. And him getting all that backlash for liking episode 9 is extremely fucked up and a little petty. I was upset because he liked it, but I'm not going to sit there and attack him for it. I mean, that's kind of stupid. I actually like elements of episode 9 because of its kind of Legends type feeling that it gave me. I felt like I was playing KOTOR, and it had some like fantasy elements to it, and I thought that was cool. Bad movie, bad plot, too many McMuffins, but some of the elements were neat.
So these are the kind of things that I deal with, and the things I've never really talked about. But I just feel like at the end of the day, after 4 years, it kind of just eats away at you. And this is the final straw for me. And I don't like what this guy is doing, and he's painting me. And he actually has now garnered eyes on him. It's annoying. He's painting me with this brush that I'm disingenuous and that I ignore character arcs and I don't understand Star Wars. I've been a Star Wars fan since I was 6 years old, man. I don't need to explain that to you. I don't know who you are, and you have...
Just because you've been a Star Wars fan doesn't mean that you understand Star Wars. It just means that you like elements of Star Wars. People, go through this all the time. Where they'll be fans of certain media, but they won't actually understand its full ideas and stuff within media. So,
if you don't know who I am, as you go on to say that you don't even know me, like you don't even watch my videos. He says,
actually,
it's like I don't even really watch this guy's videos, and I have no personal beef with him. He could be a nice dude, but his content is indicative of a larger issue with how mega fans consume media in an obsessive but completely superficial way. So now,
actually, yeah, he doesn't watch your videos all the time, but he says here, I don't really watch his videos. I've seen his stuff before. I just don't watch them regularly, especially not recently.
Now you're painting not only me with this brush, you're painting all my fans, my subscribers, and mega fans in general with this perceived notion that you're so wrong about. And I think the whole reason for you going on about this and just kind of trying to attack me is you want clout. Well, here it is.
All right, so this is the worst comment that he made while doing this. I wish that he would just kind of pick it apart instead of getting so upset. This is the part where I just get absolutely upset at Star Wars Theory. And and this happened 3 weeks ago. I know this is kind of a late review, but it was just on my mind, and I wanted to redo the one that I did before because it was so long. So basically, the he wants clout comments. I mean, the guy's kind of acting like a man-child. He doesn't want clout. He's making a good, solid point about how people consume media and about how they don't understand like simple, basic stuff sometimes. Some deep elements that are, yes, they're deep, but sometimes they're a lot more in your face if you just fucking look. And like that's, I mean, he's just making a good point. So I don't, don't be a man-child about it.
It is, man. Here's your clout. Enjoy it. Because it's going to last for maybe 2 days, and that's it. So this is a person who's making their living off of theater. This is something I see as well, is People always talk about money. Dude, let's talk about it, man. You want to talk about money? Yeah, it's great to be able to do something that you love, something that you found magical when you were 6 years old and you still find magical today. It's what gets me up every day in the morning, and it's what keeps me up until the wee hours of the morning. You know, a case in point was literally I slept at 7 a.m. today because I was getting out that fan fiction. I was tweaking it, perfecting it, doing things that I wanted to do because I really enjoy what I do and I take a lot of pride in what I do. For you to come out there and just paint me with this brush that I don't know what I'm talking about and I'm disingenuous or whatever is really garbage to me, because I'm not taking the food out of your mouth, man. I'm not, destroying your ability to live or pay your rent. I'm doing what I love and I get paid for it. I wish everyone could do something like that, because I really think there would be less people like you who are working for money instead of doing what they love and getting paid for it.
And this is another just man-child comment. Like, I'm literally at the point to where I'm just so disappointed to listen to him right now, because he is the type of guy that doesn't take criticism well. He's the type of guy that seems like he's on the fence or trying to please both sides. Sometimes I feel like he's the Boogie 2988 of YouTube, and it's just a little aggravating. But
at the end of the day, I love what I do, and I'm very, very prideful of what I do. And I love my fandom. I love the Star Wars fandom. And I owe everything I have to George Lucas and what he's created. So when I have people like you who come in here and want to bully me, when I was a kid, I'd get bullied for liking Star Wars. And it would almost make me feel like I want to be in the closet about liking Star Wars. Whereas now it seems like you're bullying me for not.
And here I feel like he's using his backstory as a crux for me to feel sorry for him. This guy is I believe he's in his 30s, late 20s, early 30s. And I'm 27. I would never do this. This is really, really childish, this whole thing. And, well, let's continue.
Knowing Star Wars when I preach that my name is Star Wars Theory, I feel like you watched maybe 2 seconds of the video and then you went to make this tweet for some clout or something, and it's really unfortunate, because if you would have watched it, you would have seen that I was very impressed with the fact that Dave Filoni is now saying this in canon, something that we have all wondered for years.
Oh my God. Okay. This is probably his worst comment. The clout thing was already bad enough, but this is him defending the video. And this is where he fails so tremendously. He says this whole thing was in canon, as if Dave Filoni doesn't say anything that we didn't already know. It was just basically him explaining the significance between the original making the connection between the original trilogy and the prequels, basically episode 1, because in my opinion, episode 1 is probably the most important episode as far as dissecting Anakin's psychology. And it makes it a little bit more easier, because I feel like I won't say it's as in your face, but you just get a handle on who he is at an early age very easy. So just because Dave Filoni said it doesn't mean it's in canon, and it was already in canon because it was in the first movie. So I don't know what, Anakin... showing Anakin's tendencies and psychology and attachment style and stuff like that, and how he interacts with another person has nothing to I don't know why you would say, because it was surprising to me because Dave Filoni said it in canon. I hope you guys watching understand what I'm saying, but his comment makes no sense, as if we were all wondering because Obi-Wan was a bad father. That, like, it's shown there in the prequels that he is not like the greatest father figure. It's all throughout the prequels, and it's mainly there in Episode 1 when you see Anakin and Qui-Gon Jinn interact. They are the two that interact the very most, and he is forced to get to know Obi-Wan because of Qui-Gon Jinn's death. Like, that's not something that should be mind-boggling to you, and it's not something that someone would have to say it's in canon because it's already fucking there in Episode 1.
Years and decades, that would Qui-Gon really have been the father figure that Anakin needed? Would it have
Yeah, it's there in Episode 1, buddy.
been the fundamental pivot in the story where it would have changed everything from turning into the Empire?
Okay, and this is the part that's like just completely retarded. Like I said earlier, just because Dave Filoni said it doesn't mean it doesn't mean it's fucking canon. Like, you already get a sense of that when you're watching Episode 1. Episode 1 came out in like 1999 or 2000. Okay, it's not like he doesn't need to make this comment. This comment is retarded. It's so fucking retarded. Okay.
And this is something that we always saw, but now we get Dave Filoni, the mastermind, the apprentice to George Lucas, actually confirming this. And this is why he humbled everyone at the table and silenced everyone at the table. These directors and writers and producers who have credits far beyond what I will ever achieve, because he knows so much more and because it's so much more interesting when he explains things. And it was by far the most eloquent thing I've ever heard anyone ever say about Star Wars. And to be able to piece all that together and talk about the duel of the fates being the duel of this child versus just the Jedi versus the Sith.
Okay, so this comment is about the Duel of the Fates, the title. A music title is just about as significant and important as a book title, which means they're not really important at all. It says Duel of the Fates. It has fates, plural, meaning, basically, you could take that to mean the duel of the fate of both the fates of Anakin and Qui-Gon Jinn. There's no importance to that. Dave Filoni makes a connection to Duel of the Fates, and I think that's neat. Like, I'd never thought about Duel of the Fates meaning that, and if that's what George Lucas wanted, then fine. That's totally fine. Does it add to the story? No, it really doesn't add to the story. It's just like a little fucking brownie that you get every once in a while, or I can't remember what you call it when you're playing it. An Easter egg. It's like an Easter egg. So it's not that significant at all.
And I thought that was interesting. I mean, forgive me for thinking that's interesting, but I should have a right to be able to enjoy something and be wowed by it. You clearly don't know who I am, and you don't know what I'm about. So I think you should leave it at that. And you should just internalize these things in your mind instead of making a tweet and making a whole thing out of it, because now I'm going to make a thing out of it too. This is something else I have a big problem with, and this is something someone wrote, which he retweeted or whatever and says is relevant. This one hits home for me because it affects.
Okay, I think I'm going to stop it here because this video is long enough. So anyway, basically what happens is the guy makes a good comment. He is basically doing another commentary on how people consume media. Star Wars Theory here basically says, talks about the meaning of media as like an escape or something like that, because he goes back to his childhood, and he's basically I can't remember all that he said, but anyway, it's not that important. I wish Star Wars Theory would just basically take it and use good arguments. I feel like a lot of his arguments are just, I guess, straw mans or something. He doesn't actually argue the main point, which is how people consume media. That was why the tweet was made. And A.B. Allen makes a great point. And Star Wars Theory, like, I'm sorry, buddy, you lost the argument. You completely lost because you have no ground whatsoever. You made the video about Dave Filoni explaining the prequels to you, and you make it sound like that was your first time getting it. And I'm sorry, like, you can say whatever you want about, oh man, it's so fascinating that this is now in canon. Of course it was fucking in canon. Dude, like, that's such a dumb comment. It's like the whole psychology of Anakin is right there in episode 1, and it's very plain and very simple. And I mean, I made a video about it like 3 years ago. Dave Filoni, what he does do, and I will, be honest about this, like he takes episode 1 and he relates it, and he connects it to the original trilogy. So basically what he says is, like, one of his comments were, that Darth Vader at the very end had to learn how to be a father that, like, he never had, which was pretty cool. I thought that was very neat. But the whole thing here is literally about episode 1. And I mean, that's basically what the whole thing that Dave Filoni is saying is about. Like, so, I don't know. I made this video because I am incredibly sick and tired of the fact that I feel like this guy is just, he always sits on the fence. He doesn't take criticism well. It appears that he's sitting on the fence. He's very careful not to offend people. He's basically the locker gnome, or the Boogie 2988 of YouTube. I feel like more locker gnome because it, this guy has an opinion, locker gnome has an opinion. They're not very, well, this guy doesn't seem like as straightforward or aggressive with his points, as far as what side he's on. And it's the he is the Keemstar of Star Wars on YouTube. The why am I still getting hate? You want to know why people are complaining about you, buddy? This is it. This is why. Deconstruct their arguments. Don't be angry with their arguments. They made a very solid point, and you can't take that away. He wanted to tweet about it. He can absolutely tweet whatever the hell he wants. It doesn't matter. He can call you out on your bullshit if he wants to. It's totally fine. This is not an attack against you necessarily. He's just using your video as an example for his point, and he's completely and utterly correct on his point. That's all I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you guys next time.